Welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about heat transfer in solar collectors. So first we're going to dive right into the three principles of heat transfer. The first is that heat flows from a hotter object to a colder object. So an example of this is the sun transferring heat to a cold body of water like an ocean. There are also three modes of transfer, which is the second principle of heat transfer. The first is conduction, which is the flow of heat following physical contact. So if you touch a hot hair straightener, it's definitely going to hurt your hand. Convection is the second one, which are heat transfer due to a motion of fluid. So an example of this is a radiator. And the third is radiation, which is heat transfer through electromagnetic. And an example of this is the sun's rays transfer heat to the earth. So if you wanted to use these three principles together, come with me and we'll go into the kitchen and look at boiling water. I'm about to show you how the three principles of heat transfer work together. So I have a pot of water right here, and I have my oven. It's hot. I'm gonna put the water on the heat. So if I wait a few minutes, so now that my water is boiling, I could explain to you how these three work. If I were to take my hand and touch the hot pot right now, which I'm not going to because it would hurt really bad, that's an example of conduction because that's the physical contact of my hand with the heat. The heat rising up from the bottom of the stove to the pan is the radiation because the radiation comes directly from the stove. And the convection is the movement of the cold water and the heat making the water heat up. Now that we're back from the kitchen, we'll talk about the third principle of heat transfer, and that has to do with insulators. Insulators are materials that reduce the flow of heat from one object or surface to another. If I were to put a lid on the top of my boiling water that you just saw, the lid would insulate the water, keeping it hot. Another example is a solar cover on a pool. If I put my solar cover on the pool, it'll keep the pool warmer. A solar collector is a device for converting light into thermal energy stored in a fluid. The stored heat is then made available for some useful purpose. There are four principles of a solar collector. They are that it converts light into thermal energy stored in water. Each substance has a specific heat or the amount of heat required to raise 1 gram of it, or 1 degree Celsius. Water has a high specific heat, and thus it takes a lot of heat for it to increase in temperature, but it does store heat well. And 4, metal is a very good conductor, so it absorbs heat well, but it also transfers it easily. With this being said, how can we maximize efficiency when heating a tub of water with a lamp? If you're trying to heat something as specific as a tub of water, you need to make sure that there isn't anything colder than the water interfering with the heat transfer. So if the table that you have your tub of water on is very cold, you need to put something room temperature on the table, like a piece of cardboard, to make sure that it doesn't interfere. It would also be helpful to take a piece of metal or aluminum foil and angle it in a way so that the lamp reflects the heat off of the metal and into the water. If you've ever seen a solar panel, you'll notice that they are angled in a way so that the sun hits them directly. Solar collectors are important today because they are able to store light and turn it into thermal energy. Solar panels are very important as we try to do things that are better for the environment. They collect the radiation from the sun's rays and turn it into energy. This is Cassie Alphabee signing off, and I hope you learned something about solar energy collectors today. Thank you.